So I want to take a little bit of time and clarify the lettering that we use in engineering drawings. The American National Standards Institute, or ANSI for short, is a nonprofit organization that sets voluntary consensus standards among manufacturers to ensure quality in the products, processes, and systems. And among other things, they do all kinds of things, but this is one of the things that they do is set the guidelines for engineering drawings, such as the style of the views, the lettering that's used, as well as the line types. So what are those guidelines, you ask? Well, we want to make sure that we use Gothic font, all vertical lettering, all capital letters, maintain a consistent height. We want to go left to right, and we want to make sure that the thickness of the lettering is consistent, the style is consistent, so always that regular vertical lettering. And then we want to make sure that the area between each letter is consistent. And so that means that if we have two lines, like an I and an L, that are straight lines, there's going to be a little bit wider spacing between them than if you have O and then a C. You want the spacing, the gap between those letters to be pretty close, but the area around the curvature kind of makes up the difference. So as you can see here on our drawing, we have a local note that tells us that all fillets and rounds are 1/4 of an inch, unless otherwise specified. So then if we look at the drawing, we have two that are specified. We have a fillet that's 1 inch and a round that's a 1/2 inch. That leaves us with one fillet that's not noted, and that's the one that's going to be 1/4 of an inch. But typically when you have local notes, that's going to be something that applies to the trends that you see across your part. So if you had 4 corners that were all curved off, typically those are all going to be the same radius. Let's look at the lettering template and see how we're going to draw our letters when we're doing hand sketches. So most of our letters are going to be a consistent width. The exception is going to be I, which is a little narrow letter, and W, which is a wide letter. Most of the other ones are going to be all consistent. You want to also make sure that with the I, you put little feet, short bars at the top, so that you can make sure that you can distinguish the I from the one. You also want to make sure with the letter O that it is the same height as it is width, whereas with the number 0, it's going to be a little bit narrower. You're always going to want to do crisp, straight lines, and if you look at the stroke guideline, it will tell you which direction and which one to do first in order to make sure that you have the optimal technique to create your letters. So that's about it for lettering. We'll talk about line types in the next video.